Hi guys, this is Mario from Dual Core Studio and welcome to Particle System Tutorial Part 2. In this tutorial I will show you how to make this rocket with smoke particle system. We will use a custom made sprite. This is our smoke. It looks terrible, but this is just for example. So first we need to create a material. Let's call it smoke material. And we want to add our sprite to our material. So let's add smoke and change rendering mode to cutout. Next thing, we want to create particle system and use this material. So let's drag it here. Great. Now also we want to use text sheet animation because we have 3 tiles on X, not 1. This is much better. Let's change some settings. For example, start speed to 0, lifetime and duration to 2. We can change shape also to sphere and change radius to something small, let's say 0.2. Now we can add a rocket to our scene and make a particle system child of our rocket. Now if I press play and move my rocket, this is not what we want. We want to leave behind our smoke. So to do that, we need to change simulation space from local to world. Also, we can change rotation by speeds and add some negative gravity. Let's say minus 0.01. So it will go up a little bit. Great. Now we will create a new empty object. Let's call it shooting point and add this to our player. Let's change icon so we can see it better. Okay. So let's change our shooting point. Let's say here. We will shoot our rocket from here. Now I have script player controls on my player, and here I have flip function. I will not explain this because I did that in my 2D platformer tutorial. I think episode 4, player flipping. Here you can see something more about this flip function and facing right, and we need that facing right. So we want to know when we are facing right and when we are not. So now we want to create public void create rocket. This function will create our rocket. If we are facing right, then if it's true, then we want to instantiate a rocket on shooting point. So let's create public game object rocket prefab and public transform shooting point. Great. We want to instantiate that rocket prefab on shooting point position and shooting point rotation. And if we are not facing right, we also want to instantiate. So let's copy this. But now we will change something before our instantiate. If you look at our rocket, it has local scale of 1. When we are facing right, we want x to be 1. But if we are facing left, then we want to change this local scale to -1. So okay, and we will do that before we instantiate our rocket. So let's go back to our script. And if we are facing right, we want to our rocket prefab transform that local scale equals to new vector 3, and we want on x1, and this can be also 1. But if we are facing left, then we want to change this to -1 on x. And also I forgot this here. Sorry. Okay, now we have a function that will create our rocket. Next thing, we want to make our rocket prefab. So, like this. But let's change this to 1. So then click apply. Okay, and now in our script we want to add our rocket prefab here, and we want to add our shooting point here. Click apply. Next thing, we want to add button, create UI button, and we want to place it, let's say, in the bottom left corner. So we need to change pivot point and position of our button. So let's go here and use Shift and Alt and click here. Now it will always be in the bottom left corner. Just change position like this. I won't change anything on this button because this is just for example. You can change button image, text, font, and font style, everything you want. So you need to try this out. So when we press our button, we want to create our rocket. So let's drag our player here, because on player we have script that will create a rocket. So let's create our rocket. So player controls, this is our script, and this is our function, create rocket. Great. Now if I go to play, I think that I can create my rocket. But now I need to move my rocket. So in order to move objects, they need rigid body. So let's add rigid body 2D and change gravity to 0. So click apply. Now we want to create a script for our rocket. So rocket script, double click to open it, And now we want to use that rigid body. So rigid body 2D, let's call it RB. And we want to get that component of rigid body. So RB equals get component rigid body 2D. In update function, we want to do next thing. If our transform that local scale is greater on x is greater than 0, then we want to set our velocity to new vector 2, and we want to, let's say, 5 on x and 0 on y. And else we want to do something similar to this, but with negative value on x. So let's see how this works. So I create my rocket with this function when I press button. If we are facing right, I will set my local scale, and here this first number on x is very important. We set this to 1, and then our rocket will check if this is greater than 0, and it is. Then our rocket will go on the right side because this is positive value. And if we are not facing right, and sorry, we need here else. And if we are not facing right, then we will set our local scale of our rocket to negative -1. Then we will set velocity to negative value, and it will go to the left. So I think this should work. Let's try it. Okay, now we are facing right, and sorry, we need to add this script to our object, our rocket. So rocket script, and let's click apply for everything. So, and click play. Now we are facing right. If you press button, great. Now we are facing left. If you press button, and it goes on the left. This is all for today. If you like this video, please share and subscribe, and see you next time.